everyone, how are you? Welcome to Module 3 and Lecture 10, Visual Arts and Science. So the aims for today's workshop are going to be using visual arts to enhance science concepts, culturally inspired art projects related to science themes, and we are of course going to end with a little reflection and a way to design a lesson plan, which is going to be science inspired, and it's actually going to be an art project. And I'm going to share some strategies with you on how you can make a lesson plan. So let's get started. Before this, can we talk a little bit about visual arts? Actually, what is visual arts? Yes, visual arts are anything creative that you can see. Any creative art that you are able to see is visual art. So it can be sculpture, it can be drawing, it could be a sketch, it can be a painting, it can be an art installation like a project, it can be uh, a photography, any digital art, graphics, anything that you can see which is creative is visual arts. Okay, so let's get started. Now, using visual arts to enhance science concepts. Now, do you think art and science can actually be combined? Do they have any connections? Let's find out. Imagine, I would like you to close your eyes at this point and just hear me say this. Imagine a sky full of twinkling stars with a fiery layer of light surrounding them that makes them sparkle. Can you imagine that? A sky full of twinkling stars with some fiery layer around them that is making them sparkle. It's constantly twinkling. Can you imagine that with your eyes closed? Yes. Now you can open your eyes. How will we be able to imagine this? Is it because we have prior knowledge about stars, about how they twinkle, maybe in our science lessons through school? Or have we seen pictures, or we've, at some point in time, Googled it and used it in our own classrooms because we are teachers now? So it could be prior knowledge. Yeah, it could be, having seen a few pictures, but we could imagine the twinkling stars, right? Now, a lot of famous artists now, were actually explorers who depicted what they saw through their artwork much before cameras came into existence. So even before we had pictures, even before we had books, even before we had imagery, a visual imagery of what a star, for example, looks like, the astronomers, the geologists were able to tell us that this is what it is. So they used not only descriptive words to explain to us what space was all about or what stars look like, but they also used their image in their mind, the visual imagery, and depicted it on paper in the form of maybe art, color, paint, like a painting of stars, or a drawing, a sketch, uh, you know through which we, the rest of the world, got to know what this is like, right? Not everyone has seen through a telescope, not everyone knows what stars look like, really. you know the actual formation and the actual, uh, what are they made up of, the actual content of the stars, right? So this is all about, visual imagery that was used by explorers so that we could understand what space is all about, right? So does that mean we can depict science through art? What do you think? Let me know in the live lecture. So some famous artists who actually, depicted a lot of science through their art, were actually explorers themselves. And this is really very interesting to note that some very famous artists were actually, scientists by the background, but they developed more, perhaps artistic skills, and they realized the potential of their art within themselves and decided to pursue art instead of exploration. But a lot of science knowledge background that they had depicted and is evident through their art. For example, Leonardo da Vinci, he studied anatomy, physiology, and astronomy to create. Yes, he actually created flying machines. So it was a part of his engineering skills, and he used his knowledge of anatomy to depict beautiful paintings such as Mona Lisa and The Last Supper, as we all know that. So his knowledge of anatomy, helped him to really, draw the human faces and the figures to the T. That was his precision of art, because he knew the anatomy so well. Uh, Again, another famous artist, Samuel Morse, who created the telegraphic Morse code. He painted the famous classic gallery of the Louvre. He actually, yes, he painted. He was a wonderful artist, but he then shifted to electromagnetics and created the Morse code, the famous Morse code. And then we have an artist called Maria Sibylla Merian. Her methods charted the course for modern ecology, as her images were the first to explore interactions between plant and animal species. She was a botanist, and she explored plant and animal life to such a vast extent that it brought down her, her skills when she was painting them. It brought down her skills to that, because that was her precision. So if you see her, all this is a still life picture that I've put up of Maria, but if you see her other paintings, there's such precision of flowers and plant life and animals. It's amazing to see. And some of these artists, the way they paint, it doesn't look like a painting, right? It actually looks like a picture clicked by a camera. Another very famous artist, John James Audubon, he loved birds, and during his study, he actually recorded their behavior, like a thorough research, and researched their migratory habits, drew them true to size, along with their nests and the flora and fauna from their environment. So along with all of their background and the environment, he drew them to precision again. So you know again, amazing explorer, amazing scientist, within themselves, and just beautiful artists. And another one, again, Santiago Ramon Cajal was the first to suggest that individual cells structure the brain, and in the 1890s created detailed drawings to illustrate his microscope aided findings. So here's again, once again, art that is depicting science within the human body, something that Santiago Ramon found out. He was able to show it to the rest of the world by the way of his drawing. So here again, we used art to depict science. Very, very fascinating. So this is these are a few things that I found out in connection with science and art. How are our schools able to combine the two? Is it that something that we are anyways naturally doing in our classrooms without really putting a label to that, whether it is science or whether it is art? Learning is happening all the time in our classroom, right? Because I'm sure we all out there are fantastic teachers, and we've been doing a great job. So congratulations for that, because we must pat ourselves on our back once in a while, because we're doing an amazing job there. Okay, so yes, a lot of learning happens in our classroom without we even coming to, you know, label or coming to know that, okay, this is what I've done today or that's what I've done today, until you read about it or you learn about it somewhere else and you say, oh, okay, this is what I did. So yeah, I'm on the right track, kind of thing. Right. So these are a few things I found on web. Let me show you this video of this teacher who is teaching Kandinsky's artwork using recycled materials. Therefore, she's reinforcing recycling, reducing, uh, waste and consumption from the environment, and thereby teaching children how to take care of their environment. Yes, so I found it really cute. So here it is. Let me share this screen. So as you saw in this lovely video where the children are learning not only about the environment, they're also having a lot of fun. And they also, of course, learned about a new art style, right? The Kandinsky's famous artwork. So here's another little video. This was about early years. Now here's another video that I found very interesting because this is NASA inspired. Okay, where the students here are actually using art to understand and analyze the NASA pictures from space. So, and the pictures are true to size. So, literally, they are amazing. So, let me just get on with that. So here we again saw how we can use art to depict science around us in our environment, and to also help and learn about science around us, right? And there are a lot of more videos out there that some of these, how they're using science in classrooms. Maybe you can go through some. And if you need some more help, some more examples, you can let me know. I will definitely try and send, put up some more reference websites in my live lecture. Moving on to the next slide. Yes, so now we come to culturally inspired art projects. To the right of your screen, you can see this just caught my eyes. Can you imagine what this is? Yes, it is a sand sculpture that these professionals, these people are making, and they're actually making it on a Belgian beach. This is world's biggest sand sculpting festival of its kind in Belgium, and it's actually the world's biggest sand sculpting festival where 34 international artists have come from 12 countries and used created sculptures through 4 weeks using 6,000 tons of sand. And, no doubt about how much of, science of materials must have gone into it, the kind amount of learning that people must have had about how does sand react with water, what are the materials that you can use to combine together just so that the sand is stiff enough to be molded, to be sculpted, and so that also that it can stay through the entire, imagine if it took them 4 weeks to sculpt it. And then after that, when the festival actually is there and the exhibition starts, when people come, it has to stay on for all of that time, right? Through that long time. So it has to be really sturdy enough. So the amount of professionalism and the knowledge that they need to have of science and of sand and of materials and how materials react with each other is definitely mind-boggling. So this is something that I found very interesting. um, on the left, you can see this is the Thanksgiving little craft idea that I found online when I was doing some research a little while ago. And it's just so cute that I couldn't resist to share this one. It's made with like a foam or a paper circle cutouts. This is for early years, of course, and you can have those feathers made with baking soda, and then you can just as you add some vinegar on top of these colored, you can even sprinkle some color. You can add some color, droplets of color to the vinegar, to the soda, and then as you add some vinegar, you can see them dissolve, see the feathers foam up, and it looks really pretty. So this is something cute. And here is again something I found very culturally that happens in New Hampshire. These are ice castles. It's a proper ice castle, place where they've made all ice castle things where use hundreds of thousands of icicles, and they're actually made by ice professionals. So professionals who are ice artists actually, and the castles are like they have these LED lit sculptures. They have frozen thrones and tunnels and slides and fountains and whatnot. It's pretty unique to this area, and a lot of people, a lot of tourists flock to this place to see just the ice castles in New Hampshire. So I thought this was also very culturally beautiful art in an art way, and also related to science. And the other thing very fascinating are the beautiful light shows during the famous Mardi Gras carnival that happen every year in Europe and the US, especially in the US. It originated in France, of course, but it happens in New Orleans, where this festival happens, and there are beautiful light shows and the costumes and everything. Well, I found the light shows to be more of visual arts, so and also scientific. So they're pretty related to our real time life around us and everyday life around us, right? So art is everywhere, and so is science. Okay, so that's enough from me. And now it's time for a little lesson that you may have to design. So you can take a pen and paper and jot down some points. Again, your lesson plan is going to be a science inspired art project. So your lesson should have art, should have something creative happening, and should also be based on a science concept. And I'm just going to tell you in the next 2 minutes what it's going to be about. But before that, your lesson plan has to have these certain points. One is it has to have a learning objective that is going to be a science concept that you're going to teach the children. And it should have your materials that you need, so that your plan is, like to the T. You need to know what materials should be practical, whatever you're going to use. Then you need to know what you're going to do, what is the art activity or the craft technique that you can use during that activity, uh, via which they're going to achieve the learning objective. And then I want you to think of differentiation strategies for the diverse learners in your class. So if there is a kinesthetic learner, if there is a auditory learner, if there is an audiovisual learner, how are you going to help them? How you're going to serve? How is a lesson objective going to be achieved by them? I want you to think about that. And then in the end, I want you to think about self-reflection, and you're going to think about how your lesson went for yourself. And you can also you can write about how do you know that they have achieved the outcome? How is it that you were able to find out that they have achieved it? Now, so I have a little sample here for you. And yes, of course, please share your lovely lesson plans with us in the live feedback session, or you could even write down what you maybe put down together in the comment section below after you watch the video. Here's a little sample lesson plan. Here's what I did for my 4-year-olds in my classroom. Our topic was butterfly life cycle. And we were talking about how the butterflies lay eggs, and then from the eggs the caterpillar comes out, and the caterpillar forms a cocoon or a chrysalis around it, and then after a few days it opens up and out pops the butterfly. So we used the materials that we used for creating this whole life cycle in our class were paper plates, play-doh, paper, paints, colors. Some of us also used pasta. So you can depict a butterfly life cycle through different shapes pasta, but you can use like the bow pasta for the butterfly. You can use a penne for a maybe a chrysalis, and a penny for a spiral one for for maybe the caterpillar. Yeah, but what we did was we used Play-Doh for the differentiated outcomes, and for the rest of them we used colors and paper. So some of the differentiation strategies that we used even in our class for diverse learners was Play-Doh to make the eggs, caterpillar, cocoon, butterfly, because it helped give them a lot of sensory experience. Because a lot of children, when they can be very all like they don't want to sit and color and paint, get messy. Some children refrain from getting messy. They feel like hands get too dirty or something. You can give them Play-Doh, and have them use their hands to make eggs and caterpillar and cocoon, butterfly shape, however they make it, if that's fine. Yeah, and of course the teacher can model it before the child starts to do it. The other thing that we used was using their hands to paint. So some children love to paint, and they love to paint their hands because they like the feeling of the color and the glue and the liquid, sorry. So the liquid paint on their hands feels so cool and lovely that these children can't resist, and you can't give them brushes or sponges, because they will just use their hands in the paint and then just paint all over. So that's what So we also kept that option open because we knew that may happen. So we had our aprons ready, we had our, the sheets on the table ready, the plastic sheets and the newspapers ready. We had our, tissue papers backed up. So just in case, there are any paint spills down or anything like that. So we were equipped for the activity. And then of course, we used color mixing to add a bit of fun element for that. So, adding two primary colors together to color your background of the plate, of your paper plate, so that that's fun. That was really fun. And then we had cutouts of the different stages of the life cycle of the butterfly, and the children had to color it with the crayon, or they could paint it, or they could even make it with the Play-Doh. And so I'm just going to show you the activity, and then we'll come back to the reflection. Here, as you can see, this was a process where the children were completely engaged, and most of them wanted to use their hands to paint. And here they are coloring they've used two colors and made orange. Any guesses which two colors? Yes, they've used yellow and red. And it was a magical exploration and experimenting, where they figured that, oh, yellow and red make orange, so that's lovely. So that was fun. That was really nice. And after the paper plates had dried, in the meantime, they had colored the different pictures of the different stages of the life cycle, and they glued them in the correct order, because we had done the lesson before that. They knew it, they used their prior knowledge, and they stuck it in the correct order. And that was the outcome that we were looking for. And that brings us back to reflection, where the children were able to tell us the order of the life cycle. And after they stuck it, they would even tell. So this was a one-on-one thing, where we asked the child that, okay, you've done this, what have you done, can you tell us? So the children were able to tell us, oh, so like I stuck this and this happens, and then the cocoon opens up, and then the butterfly comes out. So we knew that the child knows it. So that was a record for us, that was a checklist for us to find out how the children know, whether they've learned it, or just, we were all, of course, just having fun, but was it that the children were engaged and participating and attentive to what was happening? So that helped us to know, and how we can work and help other children who were not able to reciprocate and not able to respond in the way that we wanted them to, or be able to learn the life cycle, the way we wanted them to. And a lot of children were also, they loved to enact the life cycle of the butterfly. So there's an amazing song. So we used not only visual arts, we not only used the visual art here to explain the scientific concept, but we also used a lot of expressive arts, where we used music and dance and role play and music and movement, mainly to depict the rising or the making of a butterfly. So that again is a beautiful song that actually I can share in my resource. Yes, so are you ready to make your lesson plan? Do let me know how it goes, and all the very best. See you soon.
So high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.